But it always makes me laugh, DRS, when we have a big event on any offseason calendar for any of the professional sports leagues, how things start to tick up in terms of activity and intensity. So last night we saw the blockbuster deal between the Brooklyn Nets and the New York Knicks. Mikal Bridges has been traded away from Brooklyn, just a short trip to their across-river rival, that being the New York Knicks. He will now join his former Villanova teammates, Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, your guy Tate, Donte DiVincenzo, and join this Knicks organization. In return, Brooklyn gets back a haul. 5 first-round picks for Mikal Bridges, 4 of them unprotected, and some more draft assets as well. It was a blockbuster night in the NBA. What is your reaction first from the Knicks side of things to add Mikal Bridges? What does it do in your estimation, DRS, to the Knicks' ceiling of truly being a conference contender?
It helps them. It certainly does, but it's not as if we got that superstar name that's going to shift the balance of power in the Eastern Conference, where we know the Milwaukee Bucks, if they come back intact and they're healthy, that's probably a formidable opponent. The Philadelphia 76ers with an NBA MVP on their roster, waiting to add another max contract player to go along with the ascension of Tyrese Maxey. That should help out. Who knows what the Miami Heat are going to do at this point, but the Boston Celtics still sit in that first spot. Now, having said that as well, your goal always on a year-to-year basis in the NBA or any professional sport, Ben, is what? Improve your team. Did the Knicks do that yesterday? Absolutely. And I'm not one of those guys that prescribes to the theory of, oh, man, you're giving up your future for now. Like, stop the madness here. Those fourth-round draft picks aren't really going to come into play for the New York Knicks anymore because they think they have the basis of a team that can go out and win the Eastern Conference. Now, we'll see what happens with Julius Randle and OG Anunoby on top of that. But the simple process is a Knicks fan or anybody looking at the New York Knicks waking up this morning doesn't say, oh, man, Knicks got robbed in that one. I think that's a terrible move. This is a good move by the Knicks and improve their team. But having said that, again, I don't know how it impacts the Eastern Conference when I say, you know what, the Knicks can go out and win the East. Will they be competitive? Yes. Will they be more competitive than last year? Maybe so. But I don't know if this moves that pendulum that says, you know what, I really have to worry about the Knicks. But a solid move nonetheless.
6 seasons in the NBA for Mikal Bridges after being drafted in the opening round out of Villanova. He started his career in Phoenix, was traded midway through 2 seasons ago. That's 2022-23 from the desert out to Brooklyn, where he played a year and a half. Now, he is a great player. He is probably one of the best wing defenders in the NBA. He has averaged nearly 20 points in 3 of the last 4 NBA campaigns, and yet he has never been an all-star. Is he the piece that elevates New York to being a true NBA title contender? I don't believe so. But from the nostalgia of Nova, I mean, what more could you ask for? The group chat was popping. The group FaceTime, as Josh Hart shared out yesterday. Jay Wright, their former head coach, they're at Villanova tweeting out this morning. The vibes are high for the Villanova New York Knicks. Mikal Bridges, Donte DiVincenzo, Josh Hart, and Jalen Brunson all won a national championship together back in 2016 in college basketball. And as I said, if you were going to play for a coach that could really test your limits in terms of availability and how many minutes he could log, it would be Tibbs. It is Tom Thibodeau. And Mikal Bridges, in every game that he has played and been available for in his 6 NBA seasons, he has been out there. He is going to get some run now in the Big Apple, or at least in Manhattan.
Yeah, and there'll be a learning curve there, as usually with new players coming in, because there was a lot of shots that were available last year, including Jalen Brunson taking a lot of those, but Donte DiVincenzo being that wide-open 3-and-D guy. Now you have another guy that can do the same thing. It's a great problem to have overall, but I think you hit the nail on the head, because for the NBA season, the evolution over the past, let's just say 5 to 10 years is, hey, guys, the regular season, yes, it's important because we have to make the playoffs. Do we want the best seeding possible? Absolutely. But once you get to the playoffs, I don't want to be like, you know what, this guy played 82 games and played 35-plus minutes every single night, and now you go through that 2-month grind of the NBA playoffs. It'll be interesting to see how Tibbs makes that adjustment, because you're right. He's one of those guys that says, hey, you're healthy, you're not in foul trouble? Why not, man? You're a young man. Go out there and play 45-plus minutes on a night-to-night basis if you feel the need to do so, which Josh Hart does. It's a good problem to have, as I said. We'll see how Tibbs handles it next year for sure.
We will. And listen, the New York Knicks are trying to get back to the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time in nearly 2.5 decades. The year 2000. Of course, Game 7 of the second round this postseason against Indiana at home inside the electric atmosphere that is MSG. They came up short, but the world's most famous arena is going to be bumping all season long next year. In the Outlook DRS, although we have questioned maybe what exactly Mikal Bridges does to elevate New York's ceiling and not just a playoff team or a second-round playoff team, but a true NBA championship contender, has elevated from that odds outlook. 5-1 now. The New York Knicks have settled with the second best price alongside Milwaukee to win the Eastern Conference crown. There is that clear gap, as was the case a week ago when the season came to a close and Celtics won the NBA championship in title number 18. But the New York Knicks now tied for the second best number to win the East, and at a 16-1 price right as the season came to a close to win next year's NBA title and that Larry O'Brien trophy. That price has been slashed by $6. New York tied for the fifth best price to win the NBA championship next season at 10-1.
Yeah, and this puts them in the mix, and that's all you can ask for sometimes here because you need some good bounces during the NBA season. You got to stay healthy, as we know, and also maybe get a good draw all throughout the playoffs. It's still going to be the Boston Celtics because they'll probably make a minor tweak to even make their team better if that's possible in the offseason, and those are the expectations when you're in that championship window. But from a Knicks perspective, like, why not be in there with the Sixers and with the Milwaukee Bucks as a legitimate chance to be that number 2 overall seed? The Knicks did that last night, and also the Knicks aren't done yet. The reshaping of that roster will be interesting, and it's just a matter of how much maybe they want to go over that salary cap and the luxury tax to keep some of those players that are on the team.
Right.
Now, granted, there's only one basketball, and there's a lot of good basketball players. It'll be interesting to see how Tibbs actually handles that next year because Julius Randle, if he does return, how many shots does he want to put up next year? So it'll be a fun problem to have for the Knicks once again.
More so than Julius Randle, the New York Knicks have said their intention is to fully re-sign OG Anunoby. Do they have the cap space and the money to do so?